Okay. Question number 1. Consider the following statements, Roman number 1 and 2. First one, energy is absorbed or released by atoms is quantized. Second one, small particles under appropriate conditions show wave properties. The two scientists who proposed the theories as given in statement 1 and 2 respectively are. So if you look at atomization of energy or quantization of energy, a group of scientists, initially scientists believed that energy was transformed in the form of waves. But after certain novel discoveries, they came up with a new theory that energy is now quantized. It travels from one location to another location in small energy packets in discrete amount that are known as quantum. So the scientists who are involved in quantization of energy or giving energy a particulate nature, you can talk about Max Planck or Einstein, because both of them came up with a Planck-Einstein equation E equal to mc square. You can talk about them. You can talk about Louis de Broglie. De Broglie is the one who showed us atoms have both wave property and particulate property. So he won't come under this only particulate property concept. So the ones who are involved in quantization of energy are, you can talk about Max Planck, then you can talk about Albert Einstein, you can talk about even Niels Bohr. What did Bohr do? He came up with that atomic spectra of hydrogen, where he told that all the electrons in the hydrogen atom are restricted to only certain shells. So he came up with that quantized idea. So energy is absorbed or released by atoms is quantized. It can be either Max Planck or Niels Bohr, one of the two. Next one, small particles under appropriate conditions show wave properties. Louis de Broglie, he came up with this hypothesis, the de Broglie hypothesis. Lambda equal to h over mc, that is equal to h over linear momentum. So Louis de Broglie, he came up with this hypothesis that small particles under appropriate conditions can exhibit both wave and particulate nature, because h is associated with the wave nature and momentum is associated with the particulate nature. Okay. So for the first question, your answer should be either 2 or 4, because for quantization of energy, Max Planck and Niels Bohr both are possible. So first question answer is 2 or 4. Second question, the maximum number of electrons pair of an atom that are associated with the principal number n equal to 3. So you know that the total number of electrons that are associated with a principal quantum number n, total number of electrons that are associated with quantum number n equal to 2n squared. So this is the total number of electrons. So instead of n, if I substitute 3, 2 into 3 squared, so 3 3s are 9, 9 2s are 18. But the question has asked us electron pairs. So you had to divide this value by 2. To find the number of electron pairs, you have to divide this by 2, and that will give you 9 electron pairs. So for question number 2, your answer will be answer number 5, 9. Question number 3, the number of stable resonance structures that can be drawn for the oxalate ion. Number of stable resonance structures, that is very important. Whenever you draw your resonance structures, make sure that the stability of the molecule is preserved. So for the oxalate ion C2O4, they have even given us the skeleton like this, C2O4 skeleton. You can draw one like this, C2O4 molecule. C2O4 2 minus molecule. So here 2 oxygen 2 minus, all other atoms do not have a charge. So C2O4 2 minus, one is this. Other one is keeping this as it is, you can come up with one like this. another possibility. Another possibility, keeping this one like this, you can come up with something like this. Like this. Another one is this. So for this, just you have to take a rough paper and try to draw the maximum number of resonance structures. So according to our basic knowledge, for the oxalate iron, it is possible for us to draw 4 stable Lewis structures. Look at this. This is the first one. This is the second one, third one, and this is the fourth one. So 4 stable Lewis structures can be drawn for the oxalate iron. So your answer for question number 3 is answer number 3. That is 4 Lewis structures. And these are the 4 structures. Okay. Question number 4. The IUPAC name of the following compound. Okay. They have given us an organic compound. You know that in all the past papers, one will be an UPAC nomenclature. Either organic or inorganic one. Most probably in the MCQ they put the organic nomenclature, and for paper 2 under question number 7 normally they give you the inorganic UPAC nomenclature. So let's look at this. OH, CH2, 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 CO, CH2, NH2. Okay. First of all, we have to identify who is going to be our functional group. You know that according to the precedence order, highest one is ketone, then you have alcohol, then only you have the amine. So this is your functional group. So your longest carbon chain is this. And you have to name it giving the functional group the lowest number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this name is going to be, so the name for this particular compound will be 1-amino, 5-hydroxy, 1-amino, 5-hydroxy pent, 2-ol. Pent, 2-ol. So the answer that gives you 1-amino, 5-hydroxy pent 2-ol or 2-pentanone is answer number 3. For question number 4, your answer is answer number 3. But since there were translation issues, they have awarded all for that particular question. But strictly looking at only the English medium paper, your answer should be answer number 3. 1-amino, 5-hydroxy pen 2-ol, or you can take this 2 in the front and give the name as 2-pentanone. No issues. So your answer for question number 4 is answer number 3. 1-amino, 5-hydroxy 2-pentanone. Question number 5. Identify the pair of elements which has the largest difference in electronegativity. So to do this question, you have to have memorized the electronegativity values. You have to have memorized the electronegativity values that is given straight away in the resource book. As a diagram it has been given in the resource book. So if I go to write it in that concept, boron 2.5, aluminium 1.5, beryllium 1.5, silicon 1.8, boron is 2.0, silicon 1.8, carbon 2.5. So all these values you should have been familiar. Otherwise you can't do this MCQ. So look at the first one. Boron and aluminium. The difference is 0.5. Second one. Beryllium and aluminium. Difference is 0. Next one. Boron and silicon. Difference is 0.2. Next one. Boron and carbon. difference is 0.5. And the last one, aluminium and carbon, difference is 1. So the one with the highest difference is aluminium and carbon with a difference of 1. So your answer for question number 5 will be the fifth one, aluminium and carbon. So for this, you have to have known the electronegativity numerical values. Just knowing only the periodic position is not going to help you, because at certain instances the Pauling values for two different elements become equal. Now for example, aluminium and beryllium both have 1.8 actually, both have 1.8 or 1.5. So like that you have to know how to tackle it. The wise thing, if you don't know that, is skip that question and go to the next one. Okay, question number 6. The electron pair geometry and the shape around the two nitrogen atoms labeled as N1 and N2 in the H2NNO molecule. They have given us the skeleton. Look at the skeleton. It's an amine. NO. So here, this is the most stable Lewis structure. So they are asking us the electron pair geometry and the shape. This is N1 and this is N2. So here the electron pair geometry will be tetrahedral, and your shape will be trigonal pyramidal. Shape is trigonal pyramidal. This one, your electron pair geometry is trigonal planar, while the shape will be angular. So your answer for question number 6 is the first one, tetrahedral, pyramidal, trigonal planar, angular. Okay, question number 6 answer is the first one. Question number 7. Which of the following statements are incorrect regarding benzene? Organic chemistry. First one, the resonance hybrid of benzene is depicted as follows. Actually, the first one is wrong. It's a very indirect, twisty question. You can't give resonance structures as equilibrium equations. Equilibrium is something different, resonance is something different. So between equilibrium you use this sign, but between resonance you use single arrow but with two heads. So according to that small concept, your first statement is the incorrect one. Come to the second one. All 6 carbon atoms of benzene are sp2 hybridized. Yes. Why? Why are they sp2? Because around one carbon atom you have 3 Weber pairs. 3 Weber pairs. One sigma bond with hydrogen, another sigma bond with one carbon, another sigma bond with the adjacent carbon. Pi bonds are anyways not taken now when we are considering Weber pairs. And the lone pair on one of the carbon in the benzene ring is also 0. So therefore totally around one carbon of the benzene ring you have 3 Weber pairs, and that is why it is given the sp2 hybridization. Okay, that's also correct. Huh? Third one. Bond lengths between any two carbon atoms of benzene have the same value. Yes, the bond lengths are the same. That is what startled all the scientists. How come all the bond lengths are equal if it is just C6H6? It's correct. Fourth one. All the CCC and the CCH bond angles of benzene have the same value. Yes. Everyone is sp2 hybridized. Everyone is sp2 hybridized. So therefore everyone will, around each carbon atom, we will have, this is also 120 degrees, this is also 120 degrees, this is also 120 degrees. So around all the carbon atoms you will have 120 degrees. So it's correct. Fourth statement is correct. Fifth one, all hydrogen atoms of benzene lie in the same plane. True, no. sp3 hybridization, sp2 hybridization. We have 3 Weber pairs, so therefore they should lie on the same plane. But they are not on the same straight line. Huh? So question number 7, your answer will be the answer number 1, because actually there's a huge difference between equilibrium and resonance. Both are two completely different concepts. So that should not be forgotten. Okay. Question number 8 is also calculation. Titanium tetrachloride gas reacts with liquid magnesium metal to give titanium metal and magnesium chloride liquid at high temperatures. When 0.95 kilograms of titanium chloride gas is made to react with 97.2 grams of magnesium liquid, the reactant that is completely consumed, that is commonly referred to as the limiting reagent, and the amount of titanium solid metal formed respectively are. So, first of all, we'll write down the equation. Titanium tetrachloride gas reacts with liquid magnesium metal at high temperatures to give you titanium solid and magnesium chloride liquid. So this is 0.95 into 10 to the power 3 divided by the number of moles I am finding out for each one. Titanium chloride molar mass they have given us 190. Then magnesium liquid is 97.2, but that is in grams, so no issues, you don't have to multiply by 10 to the power 3. Divided by 24. Now look at this. You don't have to actually solve this. You don't have to solve this to find the limiting reagent. Now look at this. 0.95 10 to the power 3 means 950. 950 divided by 190. So imagine, let's say 1000 divided by 200, same thing now. So this is roughly 5. This is roughly 5. This one 97.2 divided by 24. It's roughly, let's say 4. This is 5, but this is 4. So magnesium will be the limiting reagent. First one out, fourth one out, 2, 3, 5 is remaining. And they are asking the amount of titanium solid metal that is formed. Amount of titanium solid metal that is formed. For that we will have to balance the equation. Cl4, here I have to multiply by 2. Here I have to multiply by 2. Now this is roughly 5 moles. This is roughly 4 moles. So here 2 magnesium, high. So if, now this is the limiting reagent. So number of moles of titanium, or simply the mass, 97.2 divided by 24 into half into the molar mass of titanium is 48. 48. This is easily solvable. Answer will be 97.2 grams. Careful with the units, 97.2 grams. Yeah. Roughly 96. Sorry, if you solve this, you will get 96. 96, sorry. 96. Okay, question number 9. The ideal gas equation can be written in a form. They have given us a form. We don't even have to bother as to how they have derived it. Look at this. P equal to draw RT over capital M. This equation is given. Where rho is the density of the gas, M is the molar mass in gram per mole of the gas, and T is the pressure, and T is the temperature in Kelvin. If the units of R are joule per mole per Kelvin, units of rho in this equation. This is like giving a small child. Rho equal to P capital M over RT. So P is pascals. P is pascals, but look, any of the answers do not have answers as pascals. So we will have to convert it to the basic units. So Pascal is ml minus 1 t minus 1, the dimension. So it will be kg m minus 1 kg m minus 1 s minus 2 into capital M. They have given us the unit gram per mole divided by R is joule per mole per Kelvin. Joule is what? ml square t minus 2 kg m squared s minus 2 into temperature is given as Kelvin. Joule per mole per Kelvin, and the temperature is given as Kelvin. Look at this. You just have to solve this. Kelvin per Kelvin cancel. per mole cancel. Per mole cancel. S minus 2 cancel. Kilogram cancel. So what's remaining up? Gram. Here m minus 1, down we have m square. So if you take m squared up, it will become m minus 2. So m minus 1, m minus 2 is m minus 3. M minus 3. So the answer for question number 9 will be gram per cubic meter. Gm minus 3. Question number 9, answer is answer number 2. Okay, question number 10. The decreasing order of conductivity of the following aqueous solutions, including water, is. Okay. 0.01 moles of KCl, mole per cubic decimeter KCl, 0.1 mole per cubic decimeter KCl, 0.1 mole per cubic decimeter HAC. Okay. 10th question. These are the given chemicals. 0.01 KCl, 0.1 KCl, or in mole per cubic decimeter. 0.1 HAC. HAC means CH3COOH. Okay. So, conductivity. What is conductivity? Ability to conduct electricity. So, for a particular solution or for a particular solvent or any liquid to conduct electricity, what should be present? Free ions or free electrons in the medium. So, if a particular chemical is to donate free electrons or free ions into the surrounding aqueous solution, it should be a strong electrolyte. So who gives strong electrolyte? S block, group 1, group 2. KCl is a very strong electrolyte, very high ionic character. And now that is one thing. So you know that for sure this 0.1 HAC should be the least. It should be the least. Okay, now just because HAC, CH3, COOH undergoes partial dissociation to give you CH3, COO minus and H plus aqueous. There's only a partial dissociation, not complete dissociation. But KCl undergoes complete dissociation to give you K plus and Cl minus. So for sure, HAC should have the least one. HAC should have the least one. They have even given us water. Water is also given. Water is also the same thing. But water's dissociation constant, what is it? 1 into 10 to the power minus 14 moles squared dm minus 6. This is the dissociation constant of water, very small. But HAC is greater than that. It's an acid. For sure it's an acid. But water is nothing, no neutral person. So water is the least. HAC is the greatest. Next one. Next, what's the criteria? More number of ions in the aqueous solution, greater is the conductivity. So if you look at this, the total number of moles of iron, 0.01 of K and 0.01 of Cl. So the total number of moles of ions that come from 0.01 mole per cubic decimeter KCl will be 0.02 mole per cubic decimeter of ions from KCl. From this one, you will get 0.2 mole per cubic decimeter. So which one is the highest? Obviously 0.1 KCl is the highest, second highest is 0.01 KCl. So the one that gives you this particular relationship is the fourth one. So for question number 10, answer is the fourth one. Question number 10, your answer is the fourth one. And this marks the end of the first 10 questions of 2019 chemistry paper. So hope to meet you in another video. Thank you. Hey everyone, I think that particular video had added some amount of advantage to your pinnacle of success. Chemistry will indeed become one of your most favorite subjects at the end of what we take as a journey. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe this particular channel with those whom you like. And wait, whether your comments are advantages or disadvantages, please do put them down in the chat box, because everything amounts to us. So thank you and have a nice day.